Hello. Today I'd like to share one of my favorite yoga props, and that is the back roll. If you buy one, they're readily available online or at any place that sells yoga props or massage tools. You find them too. Typically though, it's a one-size-fits-all, and so they'll sew your roller, and also the firmness of the roller is pretty preset. So this one has a little rubber on it, so it has a little give, but you can see I have to push really hard to get much give at all. You'll also find sometimes these are fairly common smooth or with the serrated edges. So that gives you two options, but for most people, both of these will be too intense. And from one day to the next, depending what area of my back I'm working on, I may want something smaller or larger. So I found a cheaper alternative and more customizable is to use a swimming pool noodle. And you can see here that they come in a variety of sizes. Those are 4 examples. And there's 2 different things about swimming pool noodles that you'll notice. One is that the thickness of the noodle can be different. And then the other thing you'll notice is that the size of the hole inside the noodle can be different depending on which swimming pool noodle you buy. Hello. Today I'd like to share with you one of my favorite yoga props, and that is a back roll. The reason that I like the back roll is that in yoga we have a lot of poses involve back work. Cobra is an example, bow, full back bend, wheel. All of these involve opening up the spine back rather than forwards. The problem is that the arch of the back will be determined by where you're already flexible. The most flexible areas will open more, and the areas that you need it the most will resist. So with the back roll, we can direct the energy right into the specific point that is frozen and encourage that point to release and open, so we can restore flexibility to the entire spine. Now, to get a back roll, you can buy them online or you can get them from the store if you aren't already in lockdown. These are 2 examples. I bought these at a Five Below store. The difficulty with these is that you get one size and one firmness. You'll notice this is a little smaller, but it's very, very firm. It has a little give, there's a little rubber, but it's still very, very firm. Okay? And you'll notice this one has more give, but it's quite a bit larger. And the odds of either one of these being perfect for you and perfect for every particular part of your spine, not just the upper back, mid back, but also the low back, are slim. Quite often we need a different size in different areas of the spine. The simplest and cheapest way to create your own back roll is just to roll up a blanket. The positive side to this is it's completely customizable and you can do it. It doesn't cost anything. All you need is a blanket and possibly something to put inside it. I'll show that in just a moment. If your blanket is short and fat and then you roll it up, it's very lumpy. So to make a good back roll and to get it nice and tight, I recommend getting it long and thin. Then as you roll, you aren't worried about the sides. What's important is the very middle part. So I keep my hands primarily in the middle, and then I pull it towards me as I'm rolling, and sometimes I'll just kind of make sure the edges are rolling evenly. But mainly, I want to really get this middle part tight. Now you can see here that as I unroll, it gets smaller, and as I roll it up, it gets larger, which means that I can control the size of the roller quite easily. And as I'm working my way down the spine, if it gets intense, all I have to do is unroll it, and if it gets too easy, roll it back up again. Now, for people that have never done the back roll, it's a good place to start because the roll is soft enough that it'll give. For those of you who are used to doing a lot of yoga or have healthy spines or have been working with the back roll, over a period of time, you're going to find that this is too easy. You lay on it, it doesn't really do anything for you. If you take anything that is hard and put that inside, and then by choosing something a little bit larger or smaller, and then rolling that up, you can see now I get a much firmer roller, and again I can make it larger or smaller. So the less support I have inside, for instance this, or nothing at all, the softer, more spongier the roller will be, and the larger the object I have inside, assuming that it's firm, the firmer the roller is going to be when I'm finished. So once again, a rolled up blanket, and then nothing or something rolled up inside, and with a little practice you'll find just the right object to wrap up in the blanket and just the right amount of padding. The more I roll it, the larger it gets, but also the softer it gets. So between those two variables, the size of the object inside the blanket and how many layers of blanket, you should be able to create something that works well for you. Then as you adjust, you may find that in one area of your back you need a little bit less than in other areas, and the rolled up blanket is easy to adjust. But one step up from that is using a swimming pool noodle. Your swimming pool noodles you may have laying around at home, and if you do, or if you have access or you can buy one online, you'll see that there's a variety of different sizes from large to small. And then the other thing that you may notice is that there's also a difference in the size of the hole, from a very small hole to a medium hole to a little bit larger hole. And then you'll also find some swimming pool noodles that have a very large hole. Now, if you lay on a swimming pool noodle that has the hole but nothing inside the hole, it'll collapse. So we have to reinforce with something. And whatever you choose to reinforce should be just a little bit larger than the hole itself, so that when it goes in, it'll stay in and not just slip out the first time you use it. Okay. Now with this I can create a variety of different sizes and shapes, and it's actually quite easy. Just a regular kitchen knife can cut through the foam pretty easily. So let me show you how easy it is to make a roller, or take a swimming pool noodle and convert it into a roller. You'll notice that just with a regular knife, it cuts through the foam very easily, so you don't need anything special for that. The harder part is whatever it is you're going to be putting inside the knife, or inside. The harder part is cutting whatever it is that's going to go inside the foam to support it. So you don't need to cut it. This, for instance, is a piece of bamboo, which is what I usually use because I have access to it. And then I want it to be, again, firm enough that I have to work just a little bit to get the foam down. That way I know that it will stay in place. You can find stuff around the house. This is just a plastic upright for some shelving. This is just a broom handle cut or dowel or piece of old PVC pipe. All that you need is something about the right diameter or slightly larger that you can then push in to support your roller. So if you need a few moments, pause the video so that you can make your own back roll, and then when you're ready, I'll show you how to use it. Now that you have your back roll, take the roller, and we're going to place whichever one you decide to use, whichever intensity you decide to use. The roller is going to go in the upper back, and then you're going to work your way down the length of the spine. Okay? So an opening position. Is right about here. Let me choose a different color. That'll show up a little better. So I want the tops of my shoulders extended over the roller, and then the arms need to be the elbow above the roller. If it's below, the neck cranes. So bring your arms up out to the side or higher. If that bothers the shoulders, you can put your hands on your forehead, or you can put a pillow under your arms. And if it feels okay, you can extend or bend or take the arms out to the side. Now when I'm ready to adjust, I lift the hips and I lift the head, but just enough that I'm not dragging on the floor. Then with my legs, I push myself over the roller. And I don't want to go too far. I just want to push one vertebra and then relax. After a minute, I lift, push, and relax. And in this way, I'm going to work my way down. Now, when I get to where I can reach the roller with my hands, then I lift the hips, put the roller where I want it, and set the hips down. And then lift the hips, reposition the roller, and set the hips down. Now, if it gets too intense, when you're working in the upper back, folded blanket or a yoga block or a book or a dictionary. If you're new to this, have something handy. And if you find that as you're going, it starts to get a little intense, put something under your head, and that may be all you need to relax. If not, you need a smaller roller. Now, when the roller is in the low back, so if it's too intense in the low back, lifting your head is not going to help at all. So here, we fold the blanket and we put it underneath the hips, and then we lower. And if it's too easy, we unfold the blanket, and then we try that again. And by adjusting the size of the blanket, you should be able to find just the right level where it feels healthy and pleasant, not unpleasant. When you get to the very end and you're ready to sit up, don't try to sit up. Lift your hips, remove the roller, set the knees down, and then around the back. I usually take anywhere from 2 minutes to 10 minutes, depending how I'm feeling, to work my way down the spine. And sometimes I'll do it a couple of times, take and pass down over a few minutes, and then take another run down the spine. Or I'll go back to a favorite spot and spend a little bit more time relaxing into that spot where I need it the most. Now, for those of you who are doing the back roll and find it's easy, it feels good, and you're ready for something a little bit more
challenging. I can pendiculate onto the roller. And pendiculating is just a technical term for how we stretch when we aren't thinking, like a kid or a cat waking up from a nap. So here I roll, and when the roller's in the upper third of the spine, I bend the knees, I let the knees fall one way, and I stretch the other. And then I might even pull one knee in and straighten. And I alternate between playing and relaxing. So again, occasionally playing a little bit and occasionally taking time just to relax.
Complement to the Backroll is the back massage tool. If you buy them online, it's called a MA roller, M-A roller, and they're made out of wood, and they're very hard, and once again, one size fits all. So the problem with this is way too intense for most people, and for some people it's too easy. You can create your own roller just with a sock and put 2 tennis balls in. Squeeze them down really tight and then tie them off, and you basically have your own MA roller. And then you can customize this by what types of balls you put into it. This is a couple of tennis balls, which is a good place to start if you aren't sure. So you can see that here, just like the MA roller, the spine rolls right through the middle, and the tennis balls are going to work the erectus spinae muscles on either side of the spine. If you want something a little bit more intense, whatever you put inside here. If instead of a tennis ball, it's a solid rubber ball, it's going to be more intense. If you found a couple of cue balls from a pull set, that'd be very intense. Or croquet balls would be larger. So you can adjust the size and you can adjust the firmness by choosing different types of balls. So once again, you can make this just the right amount of massage action. And what you're looking for is for your body to relax and to release rather than to resist and to fight. So when you're working with either the Backroll or with the massage tool, in both cases, you want to feel your body relaxing into rather than tensing and resisting the opening or the massaging action. If you have access to a compression sock, they work better than other socks because they will hold their shape better. And from one compression sock, they're usually about this long. I can usually get at least 2, sometimes 3 massage rollers out of one compression sock. So now let me demonstrate how to make a back roller that's a little bit easier if you don't want to go to all of that trouble. This is definitely the place to start. However, this is too easy for me, so I'm going to show you with the MA roller. But basically, I'd position the spine right in the center. So the MA roller, the 2 humps or the 2 tennis balls, or in this case rubber balls, on either side of the spine. Now the benefit of this, with the Backroll, whichever 2 vertebrae on top of the roller either side, one will start to drop this way, one drops this way, and it forces the vertebrae to open. So this is really good for increasing flexibility and keeping the vertebrae healthy in the spine. It also, as you arch back, stretches the fascia and the connective tissue and the ribs and the sternum, and opens up the front of your chest. The MA roll, on the other hand, doesn't really put any weight on the spine. The spine is right in the middle, so the weight is on the erectus spinae muscles, the 2 major muscles that run up and down the spine. And these 2 muscles tend to get very, very tight, especially when we worry, when we're thinking, when we have a lot of anxiety. These two muscles tighten up and become very, very hard. When the muscle tightens up and stays tight, blood can't flow to the muscle or through the muscle. So not only is the muscle working hard, which means it's producing carbon dioxide, lactic acid, and other harmful toxic chemicals, but blood, fresh blood, can't get to the muscle because it can't get through that hardness. So the capillary bed is frozen up there, and so then we start to get achiness, we start to get discomfort. Over time, the muscles, even though they're chronically tight, they get weak because they don't have a chance to rest. It'd be like holding your arm out for 5 minutes. It gets stronger. Hold it out for 2 hours, and you're going to need to see a chiropractor, okay, or a massage therapist. So we need to learn how to relax the erectus spinae muscles. A traditional yoga practice will help. And it's great at maintenance. However, when you're having a lot of stress, or when you don't practice yoga every day, and for me, even if I do practice every day, I still like to do it just because it feels wonderful. I use a maw roller. Similar to the back roll,
I like to start with it in the upper back, or I'll start by finding the two balls, tennis balls, or in this case the maw roller, and I'll use my head just to find where the center is. Then I just kind of sit up a little bit, roll it, and lay back on it. Now, I find a position where I'm getting a healthy massaging action, and then I pause. You should not be rolling up and down. That'll just cause the muscle to tighten up more and protect itself. It takes time for the muscle to decide to relax and to trust. So you breathe deep and you relax. And you take 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 breaths. If you're having trouble relaxing, get some of the weight off of the roller by lifting your head and or lifting your hips. And by lifting your head and your hips, there's less weight on the roller. And then as you begin to relax, it may feel good to put more weight into the roller. Now, once you've relaxed a little bit, then you can begin to move, and you begin looking for any nerve plexus, any areas that feel like a knot, and you back away and you push in, and you back away and you push in. And then with each exhale, relaxing. After I've worked my way down, over about 15 or 20 minutes, I like to come back up. And the second time around, you should notice that the muscles are much softer and that the back roller pushes deeper into the muscles, and it should feel better. With practice over time, if you do this 2 or 3 times a week for a few weeks, you'll find that the muscles release more quickly, more effectively, more deeply, and the roller begins to feel better and better to you. So between these two practices, working with the roller to increase range of motion in the spine and to stretch and open the front of the body, and then working with the back roll, the maw roller, to massage the erectus spinae muscles in the back and to get them to release and relax. Between those two exercises, I'm able to keep my back in pretty good shape. As you work with this, if it feels unpleasant, your muscles are not going to relax, they're going to tighten more. So that's why I recommend starting off with a tennis ball that has some give. And even that may be too much, which is why you should have a couple of blankets or 2 yoga blocks close by to put under your head or under your hips to get some of the weight off of the roller so that it isn't as deep. One final thing when you're working with the roller, as you're working your way through the muscles, if you roll fast, or it hurts or it's intense, the muscle will lift and tighten, and then you're rolling up and down like this, just bruising the superficial fascia. If you relax in one position for 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 breaths, what you're looking for is this: the muscle, which is tight, to relax. And when it relaxes, your body will sink over the roller, or another way to think about it is the roller will push up into the muscle. So when the muscle tightens, the roller can't penetrate into the muscle. When the muscle relaxes, the roller can really begin to do what it's looking for. Now, once the muscle relaxes, then we roll through the muscle as opposed to rolling over. So we want the muscle to relax, and then the roller goes through the belly of the muscle. And as it does that, it finds all the knot scar tissue, and it begins to release and open up that. And with a little bit of practice and getting just the right size, and the reason I don't recommend the mall roller to most people is this is way too intense for most people, which is why I recommend making your own out of a couple of balls. The softer the ball, the easier the practice. The harder, like a billiard ball, 2 billiard balls, can be very intense. I'd like to thank you for joining me for this, and in future yoga classes that I have online, we'll be practicing using the back roll. So I just wanted to give you the opportunity to make your own roller or to purchase one, so that when we do use them, you'll be ready to join in. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.